What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA Show presented by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/All-NBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares, live from Dallas today in a different studio for you, Legs. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler. Legs, I'm watching some basketball. Hardly got to watch March Madness yesterday, but I'm still in the basketball spirit. How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. I was traveling most of the day yesterday, so I was able to watch some on the flight. I just don't get a ton of time to watch college basketball during the season. It's too much. With the NBA games I have to watch, I'd have no life if I was also watching college all the time. I'll watch, at this time of year, and then I'll, if I have anything to do with the draft, I'll really prepare for the draft. I watch a lot of video on these guys individually, but I do get into the first couple of days of the tournament, man. And when I first saw that score of that McNeese State Clemson game, when it was just there, Clemson down 20 to McNeese State in a 5-12 game, right out of the bat. And then they end up losing by 2. And it's like, if that game is 3 minutes longer, Clemson probably wins that game, right? But that's the great thing about that's the one thing NBA playoffs, which are, I think if you're a basketball fan, there's nothing better because it's the best players playing their hardest. But the one thing they have that we can't replicate a little bit, I guess, in the play-in tournament is this one and done. The fact that you've got to play well on any given night or you're going home, even if you're clearly a better team overall. That element of it makes it really cool, man.
And it's fun too. I really like Drake this year. I don't know if you knew the story with Drake. They're a bunch of D2 players. Coach gets hired at Drake and he brings his D2 players basically over to there. And, I was a guy who played lower level hoops in college. So when I see that, I'm like, all right, I'm rooting for this team. And they get a win. They have a great season and get a win in the first round. So I like it. I chalked that up to myself. Could have gone to the Sweet 16, Legs.
Well, hey, one of the things that I get into this time of year, because I got, just so many people that I know in the industry. So there's always some connection to something. A coach, a player I pull for. So this year, the story is Grand Canyon University, and they have a guy that was the MVP of the conference tournament. His name is Jacoby Coles. He was, I believe, at Oklahoma State or was it Texas Tech? I can't remember where he was before, but I know he went for his 5th year to Grand Canyon. He had a good college career before he ended up there. They win the conference tournament. He's the conference tournament MVP. The connection is his father and I teammates way back in the day when I first came out of LaSalle and I was bouncing around trying to get to the league, and I was playing in Omaha, Nebraska in the CBA for the Omaha Racers. And I played with a guy named Jerome Coles, and now his son, Jacoby Coles, is going to be the main guy for Grand Canyon University as they play in the tournament today. And I don't think they played yesterday, so they play it sometime today. But so that's now giving me my hook, to root for a guy, a team. A lot of the guys that I know that coach teams didn't make it this year, so I feel kind of bad. It was a little bit of a down year for all my close friends that are actually head coaches of programs that have a decent shot in the league they're in to get in, but none of those guys got in. So it's going to have to be Grand Canyon. Here it is. They play Maryland at 4:30. Grand Canyon was 26-7 this year. They play the Maryland Terrapins. That's a 4-13 game. Maryland's a 4, Grand Canyon 13. So Jacoby Coles, let's see if he can dial. And it's painful for me to say this because Scott Van Pelt's a very good friend of mine, and you know how big of a Terp fan he is. So I don't want to say I'm rooting necessarily for Grand Canyon to win the game, but I want Jacoby Coles to have a big day.
There you go. All right, we're all fans of the Antelopes today here at All NBA Nation. We're going to have fun today. Casual Friday. The NBA does this every year, Legs. I always forget, but when the tournament rolls around, it's like the NBA schedules their worst week of games. And we didn't have the best slate of games last night, but we are going to dive into some big stories, including Steph Curry getting hurt And then later on, we'll have a little bit of fun. I created some Final Fours across different topics that I think will be interesting to get your perspective on. And then, of course, we'll get you ready with the weekend slate later on. But why don't we start with some layup lines? Right. And why don't we start by talking about the Warriors winning last night, 117-114 over the Toronto Raptors. A close game, closer than I think most people thought, and in part because Steph Curry exited the game in the third quarter. He took a fall, Legs. Some falls look bad. This one sounded bad. Did you hear it on the broadcast? The way he hit the ground, landed right on his tailbone. It sounded like a sack of potatoes. It was such a thud onto the basketball court. It sounds like it's not too serious, but he is going to miss the upcoming game, upcoming weekend. So what did you think when you saw that injury?
Yeah, same as you. The sound was terrible. And then when you watch the replay, a lot of times when guys fall and it's a tailbone type injury, and usually that's because most of the time a guy, one of two ways, he's either taking a charge, right? It happens, and then you fall backwards, you don't catch yourself properly, or you get taken out of the air. It's not really either one with Curry because he wasn't he doesn't elevate that high, but he kind of was going to shoot a layup, and the contact came across the lane and it hit him at just the right time. So he had no leverage in his upper body, and his whole upper body swung backwards, and he lands on his tailbone without bracing his fall. And it was weird because a lot of those you hit, and it's almost like a rolling fall. Like you don't land full weight out of the air on that part of your body. That's exactly what Curry did. And he grabbed it immediately. He's writhing in pain. Like the ball's going the other direction. He doesn't make the trip up the floor. Next thing you know, they show him and he's sort of limping gingerly to the locker room. That could be a very serious injury. Now, I communicated with somebody with the Warriors today just to check. They said MRI was negative. He's going to be reevaluated on Monday. He's not playing tomorrow. Certainly could have been a lot worse. No structural damage there, which a lot of times, if it's really bad, you get a hairline fracture. Right. In your tailbone or your lower back. And guess what? That derails Golden State's season if that ended up being the case. So it sounds like they avoided the worst, but now it's just a matter of when does he get to the point where he's not playing with an incredible amount of soreness in his back. He's going to miss at least tomorrow, and we'll see beyond that.
And you said not, derail the season. And while it sounds like he'll be back and there's enough time before the playoffs, you hope that injury's out of his mind. It's in his rear view mirror by the time the playoffs arrive. But we're at the point of the season where games matter now, single games. They are 1 game up on the Clippers, 2 games up on the Timberwolves, 2 games back for the Memphis Grizzlies. And this is one of those things where you look at it and say, okay, he misses 2-3 games. He plays with a bruise on his tailbone for a couple games. It could be the difference between a game or two in the standings. So I think that's at least somewhat significant.
It is. And I mean, listen, this is what you went out and got Jimmy Butler for, to not only in case there's an injury, be able to carry your offense, or even in a game, if on those moments when Curry's out. And Butler's been able to do it a couple of times now. He had a triple-double in this game. Didn't shoot well, but ended up filling the stat sheet. And then very strange anomaly from this game. Draymond Green took 14 threes. 14 threes in a game. I mean, he's a reluctant three-point shooter. It's been better this year, especially over the last couple of months. He's more eager to take it. He's not avoiding it. He's taking it when it's there. But with Curry out, he goes and he hunts them. He ends up with 14 3-point attempts. I don't know if I didn't read the article in the game. I don't know if that's his career high. I'm guessing it is. I don't think Draymond Green's ever taken more than 14 threes in a game. That would shock me if that were the case. So they get 21 out of him. Kuminga plays really well off the bench, gives them 16. It's a bad team they're playing, but it doesn't matter. You lose Curry, it's all hands on deck and just get it done. And they did because, look, they're trying to get that 6th spot at all costs.
The crazy stat was that Draymond Green has led the Warriors in scoring 9 times in his career. 7 of them came in his first 2 seasons, all the way back to all the way back to 2016. He had not led the team in scoring since 2016 till last week when he did it. And then he did it a second time last night. So twice in a week after going almost 10 years without leading him scoring. But we'll have to wait and see. I had the Warriors penciled in as just one of the top 6 seeds, maybe even catching number 5 because of how hot they'd been. But now you look at it and say just a little injury like this could be the difference. We'll have to see how it plays out. The next one I have for you, the Pacers win in overtime over the Nets, 105-99. The Nets are such an interesting team. They trade away their pieces. They're a tanking team, and yet they're close in every game. They have some nice wins, and they pushed a Pacers team into overtime, a shorthanded Pacers team. What do you make of that outcome?
Well, listen, you're right about the Nets. First of all, they do find themselves in a lot of close games, so give them credit. They continue to play hard, even though they're not really playing for anything. So they're not an easy team to play. You still see the Pacers playing without Haliburton, and what a difference that makes for them, just in terms of their pace. 105 points, pretty anemic night for them offensively. Typically, they're going to be pushing 120 if he's playing. So without him, they don't have really anybody to create that. They've got some other guards. That's not really their game. Nembhard is, in a lot of ways, is more like a point guard than a two guard, but he doesn't push the pedal the way that Haliburton does. So that's going to be a little bit more of a struggle offensively when he's out. I think, again, same situation, just fortunate to get the win. They're battling with Milwaukee for this 4-5 situation, which is really, really important, man. You're talking about home court in the first round against a really good team. That could matter in terms of who wins that series. So good win for them.
Yeah. We're talking about Steph. Now we're talking about Haliburton. Jokic is out for Friday night. I know you caught a game with Denver on ESPN. He didn't play. There's a lot of players right now in the NBA who, if they're the piece missing, the team is completely different. I think Curry, Haliburton, Jokic, they all fit in that category.
They do. In fact, man, oh man. So we ESPN, we added that game Wednesday night. Denver Lakers. That was a late ad. I was excited as hell about it. Mike Breen on the call. So we're super excited. We got this game added to our schedule, and they go out there. No Jokic, no Murray, no LeBron. Now, what did we get? We got Luka.
Got the Luka show.
We got Luka going off, but the problem is, Adam, he went off to such an extent the game was over. So we didn't want that. Give us a storyline. He gave us a storyline. I mean, he came out. His first 3 buckets were all within 5 feet of the rim. 2 of them were really easy. One was a 3-point play over Aaron Gordon. 3 different defenders. 3 layups. 7 points. Well, you know what that's going to do for a score, man. That's setting up your deep game. So then he went to that. He hit 3 threes in the first quarter. He got to the line a few more times. You look up, he's got a 20-point first quarter. Great talking point, eye candy, visually awesome. I'm talking about it on the broadcast. The problem is the game was over at that point. We don't want that. Yeah. You don't want that. The fourth quarter, Denver basically emptied their entire bench and played it a whole quarter that way.
That was an unwatchable game. That's tough for you.
Very, very disappointing. I'll tell you something else about the night. A couple things. Stars were out, man, and they were out because they were expecting, look, man, Luka and LeBron, that's a show. And look, when you buy those tickets, maybe some of those people, you don't know if LeBron's going to be out, whatever. You still got Luka. You're a home team fan. But I'm telling you, I was around the court before the game, just kind of milling about, and different people shouting your name, whatever. You go over, say hi to people. And they were all just kind of getting the news that Jokic wasn't playing. And a lot of these people went to see him. In fact, I'll tell you this, the JW Marriott, which is right there next to the arena at LA Live, it's literally, you're talking about a 2-minute walk into the building. You should have seen the number of Nuggets jerseys. And I got on an elevator one time over the course of that 2 days I was out there with nothing but 10 people wearing Nuggets gear. So they traveled there for that game, man. And then he didn't play. And look, and I think Michael Malone told us, and kind of believe it, he's hurt. He's genuinely hurt. He said that he tried to get himself ready at shoot around. He wanted to play, couldn't do it. Jamal Murray actually went through pregame warmups. He went through his pregame routine. And at the end of that came to the conclusion, I don't feel right. So both guys sit, and you saw what happened. The Lakers ran away with that. It wasn't really a competitive game. Luka dominated the game. Austin Reeves was really, really good. Lakers shot out of their minds from the 3-point line. And it was one other thing. Guess who I met?
Who?
My guy.
Your guy.
My ultimate guy. Different sport.
Oh, man. Well, I heard a birdie on the show say your guy on Wednesday was Anthony Black. So I don't know who this is.
No, think who my ultimate guy would be in a different sport that I happen to love passionately.
I can't. Jaden McDaniels?
Jaden Daniels.
Or Janiel Daniels. Sorry, Jaden Daniels. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, the Commanders quarterback was courtside.
Wow. You met him?
I'm standing there, and I look over, and there he is. And George Sedano pointed him out. He goes, "Hey, man, look." I look over, he's 10 feet away from me. And I'm like, I got 30 minutes before the game. So I'm not really busy at this point. I'm like, should I go get a picture with this guy? And I thought, I don't know if I'll ever be this close to Jaden Daniels again. So I'm like, yeah, man. So I went over there and I got his picture, man. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah, of course, man. I wish I would have been there. Just to see that interaction from across the way. Tim Legler going full fanboy. I love it, man. We got the Bulls beating the Kings last night as well, 128-116. This is a little bit of these two teams made a trade, obviously, mid-season. The trade did not go as Sacramento planned. I don't know what Chicago planned, but it didn't go quite as Sacramento has planned. We almost just count them out. Games like this is why you count them out. A home loss by 12 points to the Chicago Bulls this late in the season. What do you make of it?
I don't know, just look at what in the world. Like, you don't have Sabonis. Again, another key injury, man. Like, you're trying to win games without
trade for Big Val.
I know, yeah, and he, whatever. He gave you 6 points, 5 boards. I mean, yeah, Sabonis is going to give you like 20 to 30 and like 15 boards. So, you're trying to win games. DeRozan had a rough night. Levine only got 9 shots. Malik Monk's basically playing point guard. It's kind of a mess, man. It's Sacramento. Like you said, what's the plan? What's the big vision plan for them? You thought it was this core group we have. We're missing something. We've been pretty good the last 2 years. We were a 3 seed a couple years ago. Still a good team last year. We need one piece. Let's add DeMar DeRozan, man. That's the key piece. And then they get that piece, and then by the trading deadline, they're like, you know what? We're going to go a completely different direction. This is not what we wanted. We're going to trade our franchise point guard, and now we don't have a point guard. We're going to play with this scoring off guard, playing point for us, and we're going to bring Levine back. Yeah, let's pair him and DeRozan back up now at Sacramento. Like, where's the vision and the plan, man, for the Kings? They're not the worst situation probably in the league or the Western even probably, but it's not a good situation with what they have right now. And they don't even know who their coach is going to be. Like, they're so uncertain about what the Kings' future looks like.
The last one I have for you is the Knicks going down last night to the Hornets, 115-98. And the Knicks are on a slide. They've lost 6 of their last 9. Obviously, Brunson going down early on in that run is a big part of it. But losing to Charlotte this late in the year, on the second night of a back-to-back after losing to San Antonio before it, this is tough, man. This is tough. We talk about the standings. We talk about the race in the East and getting ready for the playoffs. There was a report that Brunson should be back early to mid-April, so he'll hopefully get a couple games under his belt before the playoffs start. But what do you just make of this Knicks slide and losing to Charlotte?
Well, I'm going to say this, and I didn't think this was possible before, but I think it might be in play now. Their offense has such a difficult time without Jalen Brunson. And they're now saying, oh, you got the boot off. Do you know how long you are from playing once you get the boot off?
Yeah.
Like, just getting the boot off, like, that's okay. That's a big deal, but that's a long way from playing basketball. So they said before the playoffs. All right, well, the Knicks have 13 games left. Let's just say hypothetically, he misses 8 to 10. Okay, so he plays 3 to 5 games before the playoffs. Misses 8 to 10 games. I thought there's no way this team does not finish third. Do you think it actually could be possible now that the Indiana Pacers could catch them? Or the Bucks?
I look at their schedule. They just lost to Charlotte and San Antonio, so it's not like you can count any of these games as wins. But they do have Washington coming up, Dallas right after that, both of those at home.
Wait, the Washington Wizards that won in Denver?
Hey, man. Hey. You're just, what was that about? Are you upset because they didn't play on the game you were calling, so now you turned on the Nuggets?
No, I was actually, I guess in a way it was a backhanded slap to the Nuggets, but I was really trying to say, like, because you're saying, the Wizards, it's like, that's like a scrimmage. And I'm just saying they just had a couple of really good wins. I'm not, look, I know that's, I know who the Wizards are, but without Brunson, I think everything's on the table every night with who the Knicks play.
No question. And you talked about he'll be maybe back 3 to 5 games. Here's their last 5 games: Boston, Detroit, Cleveland, Brooklyn. Those are the last 4. It's like, if those are the games he comes back for, those could be competitive. They can be tough.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is Boston might not play anybody. Get that, because they're definitely locked into 2. They're not. There's nothing they're going to get besides 2. Detroit. That could be very important. I mean, you're talking about Detroit is a half game out of 5. And they are a game and a half out of 4. Incredible. I still think that's the story of the year in the NBA from a team standpoint.
Yeah. All right, and I got to throw it to you here because Legs every now and then will text me something he doesn't want to tell me before the show. He's like, got something. He's like, hey, just make sure you set me up for this. You heard a story from somebody. I want to give you the floor here. What is this?
All right, so I'm out in LA and I had 2 games to call, and then I also had 2 days of studio. So I'm in the studio doing their studio shows, and I'm walking out of the studio, and I'm walking from the studio to the hotel. So you're talking about a less than a 2-minute walk outside. And I'm walking, and here, Legs behind me. I turn around. It's someone I recognize. Won't tell you who it is yet. So catches up to me, start walking. He's got his luggage because he actually went right from the airport up to the studio at ESPN. Hadn't checked in yet. So now he's actually headed to the hotel to check in. And we started talking in this little short walk, and he goes, hey, man, I just want to let you know, your podcast you do with Adam Mares, man, I really love it, man. That's a really good listen. That's for like hoop junkies, man. I listen to it as much as I can. I love it. I saw, man, appreciate that. Thanks. That's great. He says, and I got to tell you something about Mares. He goes, have you ever seen him play basketball?
Oh, no.
And I said, no, I have not. And he goes, that dude can play.
Hey, let's go. I didn't know what direction this was going. Let's go.
I know you didn't. That's why I gave the dramatic pause right there. You didn't know what I was about to say. He said, that dude can play, man. I mean, like legitimately play. I said, no, is that so? I said, I've never seen him play. I said, Adam's kind of giving me an indication of like what his game is like. I said, who does he play like? He goes, plays a lot like Jokic. I died. And then he proceeds to say that you blocked his shot a couple of times.
There you go. I think I already even know.
And he said, and then you said to him, hey, man, don't feel bad. And then you proceeded to tell him some record you broke for shot blocking. Like I've done it to way better guys than you, man. Don't worry about it. Don't feel bad. Anyway, the person, do you know who I'm talking about?
I think so.
Who?
I'm guessing it's Tim McMahon.
Tim McMahon. That's it. Tim McMahon is as everybody knows, is an insider for us, reporter for us, and he's frequently on NBA Today and does great reporting from the arenas a lot of times on breaking news or whatever. So, yes. So let me ask you a question. So do you recall playing against him?
Yeah, this happened, I think, during the finals. There was like a pickup run or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, you were one of those media runs. I know those runs. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think Mark Jones used to play in those.
I did. He wasn't there on that one, but I
know Dave McMenamin. I know Dave McMenamin plays in those.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of the media guys get out there, so every now and then I got to go make a statement.
Yeah. So he gassed you up.
I like it, man. Give me a little street cred.
He said you could play. He said that you played like Jokic, and then without even meaning to, let us know that like you're not exactly the most humble guy in the world. So without even really trying to do that, he basically just said you block shots and then you hand out cards with your stats on it. Is that what he said?
That's what I do, man. That's what I do. I say, hey, don't feel bad.
It's like, hey, it's like there's a legendary guy. I don't remember his name, but there's a story. It's like urban legend story about this guy in Chicago that used to play pickup ball, and everybody was insisted this guy could have averaged 20 in the league. But whatever reason, man, his life took him in a different direction. He didn't, wasn't able to make that happen. But now he's this legendary blacktop player. And he used to carry around a little sack in his pocket with quarters in it. And if he did something to you, like crossed you up or hit a shot on you or blocked your shot, whatever it may be, he'd reach into that little bag and he'd pull a quarter out and he'd hand it to you and say, go call your mama and tell her about that.
I got to steal that one. I got to take it. That's a good line.
Pretty good, right? It's kind of what it reminded me of when he told me about you, like, breaking down your. Now, what is the stat he's referencing? What is this block shot record you hold?
At my college, I had a career and season block shot record. So you wouldn't guess it. I'm not the tallest guy. I had a little Draymond game to me. So I
obviously got good size, and you got obviously good instincts for the game and timing. That's a big part of blocking shots.
You know, though, you like this, though. You know, my game's not quite. I can't give myself Jokic. He's too good. You know who my game was really like?
Man, who?
Boris Diaw. Boris Diaw.
Oh,
It's more of a Boris
right.
Diaw.
How could I forget? How could I
How could you
forget?
forget, man? A little more ground bound. I love it. All right, little street cred for me. Shout out Tim McMahon. That's my guy. Love that guy. I'm glad that you got. I also love that story didn't come from me or from anything like that. You got stopped on the street.
That's why, dude, I almost fell over because of that reason. I had no idea what he was about to say. Of all things for him to hit me with. We kept walking all the way in through the lobbies of Huge Hotel, all the way to the elevator, up the elevator. We were still talking about your game.
I love this, man. Oh my God. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we're going to get into, it's the Final Four season. College basketball is in full swing here, the NCAA tournament. So I came up with some Final Fours for legs on topics, including what's more important, an owner, a coach, GM. We're going to talk about that stuff on the other side. But first, let me tell you guys about Fitbod. There's plenty of fitness influencers out there trying to sell you less but charge you more. Fitbod combines the workout planning and tracking you need to stay consistent and make progress. It's like having a personal trainer right in your own pocket. This thing is incredible. I always talk about this app. It's an incredible app because it's so intuitive. You plug in your information like your height, your weight, your fitness goals, what equipment's available to you, how long you can work out, how frequently you can work out. You put all that stuff in, and it's going to give you a tailored workout that helps you achieve your goals. And not only helps you achieve your goals, so it's going to tell you the workouts, the different days to do them, and it can help you with diet, but it also is going to help you track what you're doing so that you can stay consistent, and also you can track your progress. Sometimes I know this whenever I'm like out of the gym for a little bit and try to get back in. I go to do workouts and then I don't write it down and I forget, like, what was I lifting last week? What did I do? This helps you stay consistent so you can up your game week after week and continue to push yourself. It's got all these great workouts, many of which you might not have ever heard of. So if you have some equipment that you haven't used before, it'll give you workouts so that you can maximize what's available to you. And if you haven't done a workout before, it has this great 3D model that'll show you exactly how to do whatever lift it is or whatever it is you have going. It's a really cool product. It's subscription-based, and right now you can level up your workout by joining Fitbod today and getting a personalized workout plan. You get 25% off your subscription, or you can try the app for free for 7 days. 7 days, you'll be able to get a couple workouts in. You'll really know how much you're enjoying this thing. 25% off if you go to fitbod.me/allnba. That's fitbod.me/allnba. There's also a link in the description of the show. It's a really cool product. I know you're going to like it. You can also check out FanDuel. I tell everybody this all the time, but number one sports betting week of the year, the Super Bowl. Number two, March Madness. You want to get in on the action? New customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time because with these games going on, you got like a game coming due every 5-10 minutes right now. So if you have a small bet on every single game, you got a little skin in the game. Every 10 minutes, you're going to be figuring out if you won or lost. Visit FanDuel.com/AllNBA to get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 or older and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, back here, segment 2, casual Friday edition of the All-NBA Show. We hope you're enjoying the show. Go ahead and hit that like button, and make sure you also leave a comment for us. Let us know what you're thinking, especially as we go through these Final Fours, because I put 4 things together in a couple different categories, legs, that are going to kind of force you to make a pick between 4 similar options. And the first one I have for you, if you were the GM of a team and you were constructing a roster and you had to build around one of these 4 players, who would you pick? Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Haliburton, Paulo Banchero, or Evan Mobley. Very different players. All of these guys, different players. Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Haliburton, Paulo Banchero, Evan Mobley. Let us know in the chat what you think. What do you think, Legs?
I'd even rank them. I can
You're
very, very
okay.
quickly look at that list and immediately put them in the order I would pick them.
Wow, I'm kind of curious.
Cade Cunningham's one. Cade Cunningham's one without question to me.
Okay.
I'd go Banchero 2, Haliburton 3, and Mobley 4.
Wow, I'm actually surprised by that. You love Paolo Banchero.
I do love him, and I love Mobley. I love all these guys.
Yeah.
I think the importance of the position, man, Cade Cunningham, and the reason I would go with Cunningham over Haliburton is just because he's a more consistent, dynamic scorer, and that's what this league is now. You need that punch at that position. Cunningham is a guy that he's not like the most athletic guy in terms of how he plays, and I like that about him because he processes things better, man. He's more under control. He's got more patience. He's got great size and strength. He seems like he really loves playing under pressure. He not only scores, he's a guy that really helps you on the defensive glass. He's a great playmaker. I think Cade Cunningham is going to be an all-star going forward, maybe every year of his career. And now the question is going to be the decisions they make in Detroit around him. Like they've had a lot of high picks, top 5 picks. They've got those guys now, and they're a young team. I've already said it. They're the story of the year in the NBA. They actually still have the 4 seed at play, realistically at play for them in the East, which is just incredible. They could host a first-round playoff series after the year they had a year ago. And a lot of that is just some of these young guys, man. They play hard. They've come together. They have an established leader in Cunningham. So a lot of it's going to come down to, Adam, like where he goes in Detroit, how much more ceiling is there for these young guys? And around that, are you ever able to go get a legitimate, like current bona fide all-star caliber player to play next to him rather than some guys that you're hoping can turn into that level, whether it's Jaden Ivey or Asar Thompson or, whoever it may be, Ron Holland, like whoever you think that could be out of that group. Or can you go get a 25 or 26-year-old somewhere to come there and join Cade Cunningham and really give them a shot in the Eastern Conference? That remains to be seen. But in the meantime, that's your cornerstone piece for me of those 4 guys.
So Paolo Banchero number 2, though, is interesting because to me personally, I would have had him 4th. And I like all 4 of these guys too. I'm not hating on any one. But he's the guy that I'm not sure which direction he's going to break as a player. He's supremely talented. But you had him number 2.
Yeah, listen, here's the difference between him and Mobley, in my opinion. And I'm a little bit enamored with the scoring ability. I just think that's, what we're talking about here is, and the way I think it was phrased is like start a franchise, like build a franchise to one of these guys. So, man, you're going to have to go ahead and let me check that box. 24 a night, 25 a night. Let me get that. He also plays very, very hard. And, you just look at the numbers he's put up since he came back from his injury, and he's really found his stride again. I just think when you mix in that, he is a stud offensive player because he can shoot from 3, he can post, he can take you off the dribble. He's a 3-platform scorer. Mobley, as much as I love Mobley, and Mobley's a more impactful defender, I think what is his real ceiling offensively in this league? I don't know that it's much higher than he's at right now. And, you're looking at a team in which he is the third best offensive option for them. Right? He doesn't have to carry the show. And I don't know what that would look like if he had to. These other 2 guys I'm talking about, Cade Cunningham and Paulo Banchero, they're carrying the load every night. They have that responsibility and they can handle that responsibility. I'm not sure, if you get Mobley, in other words, you still are then, if you're starting with him, you still have to go seek out a guy that can score like Cade Cunningham or Banchero. And they're hard to find. So give me the guys that can already do that and hope they're high character and hope that they play hard and hope they care about winning and all that stuff. And I think Banchero and Cade Cunningham both fill that bill.
I think personally I would have gone Cunningham first, Banchero last, Haliburton, Mobley right in between. But to the point, it always makes it sound like you don't like the guy that you put last. I like all 4 of these guys, and I think they're all going to be great. And honestly, I'm curious to see how all of them go. But I love Cade Cunningham. I'm such a believer in his game. This next one's a little different. What is the most important part of a great organization, or a great team, I should say? Great ownership, a great coach, a great GM, or a great destination location, the LA, Miami, New York City, something like that. What do you think is more predictive of success between those four things?
Without question, I could rank these also. I would go GM 1. I would go coach 2. I would go owner 3, and I would go destination city 4th.
Man, the destination city part of this over time seems to be proven differently. You know, LA seems to always find guys. Miami seems to always find guys. But okay.
Well, I also think a big part of that is not as much, weather and, social life and all that kind of stuff with those two cities. I think it's the brand. Lakers brand matters to guys. The Heat too. The Heat have this reputation for like having a great organization from the top down, that they're never going to go through long periods of droughts. They're going to be back in the mix and contending because they just take it that seriously. So I think that's a big part of why those franchise great players too, just as much as the weather. Or, if you're in Miami, the tax benefits, like whatever you want. I think that it also has to do with those organizations have a long track record of winning or trying to win. And I think guys want that as well. For me, it's the GM, because here's why. If you give a team the right assets, because you've drafted well, acquired well through free agency and trades, and you've made sure you've stocked with future assets, like that's the whole totality of the job, right? And you're smart, fiscally responsible with the contracts you sign. I got news for you, man. There's a lot of guys in this league that you wouldn't consider top shelf coaches that can coach and win in the exact environment I just described. So if that GM has all that stuff in place, you could be a mediocre coach and you can win with that. That's why I would put that person first. That's the overall health of your organization. That's the GM. I'd put coach next. And owner, I think that's actually closer than you would think, because here's the thing with the owner. For the most part, those guys stay out of the way. The owners come into play. Look, and some of those guys don't want to spend any money either. They don't want to go into the second apron and all that. Okay. Now, if you got a great GM and you got a really good coach, you can still win, even though you're not going to the second apron. So you can overcome that. What you can't overcome is the owner that injects himself into the draft room, the owner that has constant say because they think they know better than their basketball people. You can't overcome that. And I don't care what sport it is. That's very difficult. So the owner can derail it. A bad owner can really derail your ability to win. I think that's possible, but like a really, really good owner, for the most part, they stay away, let the basketball people do their job. So that's most of the league. That's most of the league are those guys. So I don't know that that's as important. Now, the coach is critical, obviously. Those guys have to know what they're doing and coach the assets. And then, like I said, I'd put the city last on that list.
Okay. I feel like the city matters a little bit more, but I do agree with you that GM and your argument about you have a good roster with good role play, just a well-assembled team. I do feel like a lot of coaches could probably get that done, where it's not always the truth in reverse. A great coach with a really bad roster, what can you do?
Can I tell you something real quickly? When a free agent is looking at teams, here's there's a list of questions. And these are the questions that matter to guys. And I don't know if these are necessarily in order, but they might be. And these are the questions they ask. What am I playing for? Typically, that if you're a winning player, that's like the first question, because the money for the most part is going to be similar if you're top tier free agent. It's going to be very similar no matter where you're going. So it's what am I playing for? Meaning championships, contention, deep playoff runs. Like that's a major question for them. Obviously, how much am I playing for is a factor for these guys. Of course, like I said, though, if you're a top guy, the money's going to be similar. Even a mid-range free agent guy, it's going to be similar money. Very rarely does one team blow everybody else out of the water. It's a market value. You're going to get paid that wherever you go. But those are two big ones. What am I playing for? How much am I playing for? But then the other questions are, who am I playing for? Meaning the coach. And then finally, who am I playing with? Those are the only four questions that guys really care about when it comes down to it. And each guy might have a different weight on each of those four questions. But for me, if I really could rank those, it would be first and foremost, probably, what am I playing for? Who am I playing with?
Yeah.
Who am I playing for, meaning the coach? I think that would probably be how I would rank those.
Okay.
Because
A little bit lower down the list than.
Yeah, I just think the money's, look, don't get me wrong. I know money really matters, but like I said, it's for the most part, it's going to be a very similar deal no matter where you go as a free agent.
There you go. All right, this next one's for you personally. I mean, all of these are just your opinion, but this one, would you rather win Sixth Man of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year, the new Clutch Player of the Year, or Rookie of the Year? If you had to pick one of these to have won in your career, which one would it have been?
Oh, Rookie of the Year for sure.
Really?
Rookie of the Year. Yeah, no question. Because why do you think? Because there's a good chance you're like 19 or 20, man, and you've already made that kind of a name for yourself. You're well on your way to being a great player in this league if you've done that. Look, those are all really impactful awards. Most improved player, it's funny because like some guys view that like that's not the one they want to win, but I think there are guys that should want that. Like you got a guy in Denver this year that's got a great chance. I think Christian Brown, and that would be a tremendous impetus for him going forward. Sixth Man of the Year is a really cool one, but a lot of those guys think I should be starting. See, I won the award, but because I'm not a sixth man, I should be starting. So there might even be a little bit of dissatisfaction built into that they won the award when they think they should be averaging 35 minutes a game. You give me Rookie of the Year. This is what you're starting your career at, and you're probably 19 years old. Yeah, I think that's the one I'd go with.
There are guys like Michael Carter-Williams that won it. Wasn't predictive of the rest of his career, so I guess that happens. But you are right. Some of these Most Improved Sixth Man, there's almost a slight involved in the award. I'm very curious about this one because I know where you come from. But best hoop scene in the U.S., the DMV, L.A., Pacific Northwest, or Chicago? In your opinion, where's the best hoop scene?
DMV. I'll go with DMV. And I think you left one out, too. I think you left out Philly.
No, Philly? Okay. Philly, hotbed.
I think that Philly, Jersey area, but because it's a more all-encompassing area, I'm going to go to DMV, man. You're talking about, the high school scene there and the level of talent there in that area, particularly in DC and Baltimore, is as good as anywhere in the country. And then there's just a lot of Division I universities there. And in any given year, a couple of those programs usually hit lightning and they can maybe make a run in the tournament. So especially when Maryland is good, I think it's now, look, obviously the pro team is down. So right now, the Wizards, that's unfortunately the high school and college level is far surpassing interest that you have in the pro team because of how bad the Wizards have been. But that high school and college scene and grassroots scene in that area is insane.
Yeah. I wonder, that does feel a little bit like a homer take. LA seems to have the most NBA guys, but it's also the bigger area. It's a huge area. So I don't know, but all those areas are great and have a lot of NBA players.
Philly, I can tell you right now, you'd ask any player that has ties to any one of those four areas if you want to get a homer answer, ask that question to anybody, right. Anybody that played in the league that is from one of those areas. And you could throw, I don't know, I did put that list up again. James?
You got Pacific Northwest, DMV, LA, Chicago.
Right, Chicago, LA, Pacific Northwest. That's interesting. I don't know that I've
Seattle, Portland area's got a lot of great hoopers come out of Seattle.
Okay. But it's not DMV
really?
or Philly.
Shots DMV fired over here. Shots fired. I can't believe it. I'm looking up here. I was trying to see Washington because there's a lot that are coming out of Washington. Zach LaVine, Paolo Banchero, DeJounte Murray. I guess, maybe I'll have to put a list together and put these all side by side. But there's a lot of good NBA players.
I'll ask you this. Okay, well, long as we're talking about this, I will tell you this. How many, and maybe some people that are listening that know the high school scene in certain areas better. One thing I will say about Philly, they got the Philadelphia Catholic League there, which is one of the best leagues in the country for high school basketball. And they play their semifinals and finals of their tournament, the Catholic League, at the Palestra, and they sell it out.
Yeah.
You're talking about 9,000 to 10,000 people for the semifinals and then for the Catholic League championship game, man. There aren't too many areas in this country that are going to pack a college level arena to that extent to see high school basketball. That's how big it is in Philadelphia.
Last one I have for you. Who would have had the better career if they were never injured? Here's our final four: Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, Derrick Rose, Tracey McGrady. What do you think here? This one's always a fun one. This one pops up every couple of years. I see someone talk about it. What do you think?
All right. So here's what I'm going to say to that. I almost feel like, I know it did hurt them, but I still almost feel like two guys on that list sort of overcame it anyway to have great careers. Grant Hill, one of those guys. What's amazing about Grant, and the other one would be Tracey McGrady.
Yeah.
I think both of those guys did it anyway. The Penny Hardaway and Derrick Rose, to me, it come down to those two because of how young they were when they had their first major injury and kind of what it looked like from that point on. And I think of those two, I would go with Derrick Rose. Remember, this guy was an MVP at like age what? Like 22, 23?
Something like that, yeah.
Wasn't he the youngest MVP ever?
Something like that, yeah.
And the following year, he ended up playing 39 games and was putting up monster numbers again. He tore, I believe, wasn't it like the first game of the playoffs? Something like that next year. And look at his games played, numbers, and more importantly, style of play. After that, this was a guy that was the most explosive athletic point guard, I think, in the history of the league. And he had so much of that taken away. Now, to his credit, later in his career, he started to become a decent three-point shooter. He became a pretty good mid-range pull-up jump shooter. And he extended his career. And I give a guy a lot of credit because he missed at one point like 3 full years and still came back to play. And from that point on, actually helped teams. And there are not a lot of guys, Adam, because he made so much money in marketing and so much money in his salary. There aren't a lot of guys that would have fought that for that long to try to keep getting back to the court. Really, honestly, that's because he loved basketball that much. So I give him a lot of credit for that. But I really think when you look at the age that happened to him and what the trajectory of his career looked like, I probably would pick Derrick Rose.
I was kind of surprised to hear you say that. I didn't know where you would go with that one, but I'm a little surprised with Derrick Rose. But you are right, youngest MVP ever, 22 years old, and that was the peak. That was the pinnacle of his career. Let's get into our weekend slate here. We got to get out of here and get you good.
Adam, real quick, there was one more that got added kind of late. Do you mind if we just throw this one up?
God, another surprise here. Full of surprises. Who would you rather try to make a layup against? Dikembe Mutombo. Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, God. Manute Bol, Victor Wembanyama, or Adam the Eraser Mares.
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
I know one thing. Tim McMahon would pick those other three before Adam Mares. That's what I took out of that conversation.
Yeah, man. Hey, you can't score on me, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it sounds to me like those other guys on that list, like if you drove down the left side of the basket to get to the rim, and those guys could be on the other side of the court, like outside the lane, they could still get over there and block it. It sounds like with you had to bring it right to your chin, and then you could swat it. Is that fair?
I don't have quite the wingspan. I don't think.
Now let me ask you a question: If you the ball screen to defend, your guy's setting the pick, and you're jumping out to help the guard, and that guard with the ball beats you around the corner, could you track him to the rim and get it?
Oh, there's no question about it, man. I'm always in the shadow. Like, you never feel like you got far enough away. You're always looking over your shoulder. Where's he at? I know he's coming. So don't try me, legs. Don't try me.
Always in the shadows. That's the greatest.
We're going to get into our weekend slate, which is presented by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with 150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/AllNBA. Legs, like I said, man, NCAA March Madness opening weekend, so they didn't put the best games out there, but we do have Detroit at Dallas. I don't even know if that game's good anymore, but Mavs need a win. Grizzlies at Clippers, Nuggets at Blazers. Any of those do it for you? No Jokic again tonight, so he wasn't just ducking you.
I don't know. I don't even know who's playing anymore, who isn't. I don't know what's going on right now in the league to pick this stuff. I guess I'd go with Grizzlies, Clippers. The Clippers have all of a sudden become a little bit interesting to me. You know what I mean? And I know it's just tantalizing with Kawhi, and who knows, he might play the rest of the year, give you a game and a half in the playoffs and shut it down. I mean, I don't know what the future is, but the way he has played lately offensively, to go with Harden and Norman Powell and Zubac, who I love, like going, and then there's other guys that all play really hard defensively. All of a sudden they're like interesting. So I guess Grizz Clippers would be the one of Friday night for sure.
Let's look at Saturday and Sunday again. James, pulled up for me if you can. We got Bucks at Kings. That one's, I guess, decent. The Nuggets at Rockets. Thunder at Clippers. Thunder at Clippers. There you go. We found a game. There's one game over the weekend, Sunday night, that I'm real into.
And also look, Bucks at Kings. I know the Kings haven't been playing very well, and the Bucks, they're playing their guys like Lillard and Antetokounmpo are playing every night. But if the Bucks lose that road game, which is very possible to the Kings can put up numbers. That turns into a track meet, and the Kings win a shootout. I got news for you, man. They're tied with the Pistons if they lose that game. Assuming that Detroit takes care of business. Detroit plays tonight. Is that right?
I think they did. Do we have one for Detroit? Yeah, they got at Dallas. Yep, Detroit at Dallas tonight.
So they're going to win that game. If they win that game and the Bucks lose Saturday, the Detroit Pistons have jumped them and they're in 5th place.
Well, there you go.
Next with the Indiana Pacers dead in their sights now, trying to track them down for 4. Incredible.
That would be a great spot. That'd be a great story. Detroit rising all the way to 4. That would be an incredible story, man. I'm all for it. James, we got any super chats?
No super chats.
None
today, guys.
All righty, hit that outro music for us. That was a great week. We had some good stuff going on. I don't think it's the best weekend, but we will have some stuff to talk about on Monday when we come back. And then we're in the final 4-week stretch of the NBA season. It should be a good one. We appreciate everybody that's hung out with us all week long. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you let us know below. Answer some of the questions we asked on the show. We always see the comments. We like to see the interaction, so make sure you do that. Hit the like button on the way out. We'll see you guys on Monday.
All silly like the mayor.